This episode is brought to you by Amazon Business. We could all use more time. Amazon Business offers smart business buying solutions, so you can spend more time growing your business and less time doing the admin. I can see why they call it smart. Learn more at amazonbusiness.com.
Welcome to episode 90 of the High Volume Hiring Podcast. I am one of your co-hosts, Stephen Rothberg with College Recruiter, and I am joined here today by my normal partner in crime, Jeanette Leeds. Jeanette, great to see you.
Oh, great to see you too, Stephen. And we are here on episode 90. I'm excited. Episode 90. We're creeping closer to 100. We're here with Tom Chevalier. Did I get it? I feel like I sort of butchered it. So he's the GM, general manager of Appcast Labs. And so we're going to talk to him today about how you can convert applicants who were interacted, they're on your career page or job postings, but they didn't actually apply. Like, how do you convert them into actual applicants versus just candidates? So welcome, Tom. So happy you're here.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
So why don't you give our audience just quick backgrounds, like who are you? Tell us about not just Appcast, but Appcast Labs. We got an extra word in here. What are you doing?
So Appcast is the parent company here, and we're most well known at Appcast for helping large companies to promote their job openings, and a lot of the companies that we work with will call that programmatic job advertising. Largely, that's done on job boards. And as time has progressed at Appcast, these companies have asked us to go a little further than that. And so now today we'll help an employer attract talent across any channel where you might interact with a candidate. So that might be on one of the social sites. It could be in the search environment. But it's about helping big companies attract talent. And so then about 2 years ago, what our clients were starting to ask was for solutions that weren't like in our core media management, media optimization area. And historically, we had said, well, that's not really something that we could help with. We might be able to recommend somebody, but increasingly, we wanted to explore that deeper and to explore those challenges that our customers were asking us about and decide if Appcast wanted to play a role or could play a role in solving some of those problems with our existing customer base. So that's what the lab was set up to do, is to create a space where we could explore some challenges that our current customers were experiencing and then decide if there's a role that Appcast could play in supporting them.
Cool. And so what I'm hearing, Tom, is that when your clients were coming to Appcast and saying, can we help you? Can Appcast help us with branding, career site development, any number of things? That was also right around the time that Appcast acquired Bayard. Is that about the right timing?
It started a little bit before the acquisition of Bayard. So the lab has been around for about 2 years. We're about a little over a year and a half into working with Bayard. But that timing was not sort of an accident. It was our customers starting to ask us for more. Bayard certainly helps us to now enter into those channels that were a little bit less known to the Appcast group of people, but very common and very well managed by the Bayard group, so the search and social. We knew we wanted to bring those together, and that was part of the acquisition thesis. But then there are still areas outside of media management that customers were asking us about, and that's where the lab is going to jump in.
Oh, I love that. So let's talk about, I love when like something comes out of what the customer wants or the problems that they're having, because it's so spot on. So we were talking before in the green room around, the candidate experience on the career sites. Maybe you could like talk to a bit about, we think that for today's topic is like, okay, candidate comes, career site, like maybe they were looking at one job, they don't actually end up applying. Maybe talk to us about like what you're doing to engage and keep that candidate, or rather to convert them into an applicant.
Where we hear a lot from our clients is that, particularly during the COVID period, but still now in hard to fill roles, like I'm just not getting enough applicants. But other times it's about converting that talent, building the relationship with those individuals and helping them find the right opportunities so that you can consider them and ultimately hire them. And the reality for our customers that we work with, they're big companies and they're using a career site or a career site with an ATS. And the average applicant conversion rate is only about 5%. So only about 5% of the people that come into that career site or ATS complete an application in their first visit. And so you end up in the enterprise segment alone with over $5 billion in ad spend that doesn't result in what the client wants, which is ultimately an applicant they can consider to hire. And so you think about, well, why might the apply rate only be at that 5% level? And it's not that the ads aren't working. There's a lot of other considerations that are going through a candidate's mind when they're thinking about work. Do I know this company? Is this the right opportunity for me? Is it close to where I live? Do I have the skills to do it? And then, even like I might not be ready to apply today. I only had a quick couple minutes on my break and I have to come back to apply later. The tools that these types of big companies have, they're built to only cater to an application. And if I don't get an applicant today, then there's no value. But that's so far from the reality. And so in the lab, we were thinking about that problem area. And what we realized is that we could help by supplementing the candidate experiences offered by those tools and not ask an employer to change out their career site, not ask them to change out their ATS. That's like a multi-year, very big change management type of.
Huge. Yeah.
Could we help them to be able to work with candidates, get a better candidate experience introduced in those tools that they already have? And that's the genesis and the origin of Xtend, which is one of the solutions that the lab is focused on right now. So an employer can actually put it on their career site pages, they can put it in their ATS, and it can solve some of these opportunities or challenges with candidate engagement. And so it lives right on the customer's career site.
Hey, this is William Tincup. Listen, we did a series for iSolved called Heroes of HR, where we talk to HR practitioners. And these are just your run-of-the-mill, everyday, slogging it out, 300 employees in Cedar Rapids, HR pros. Mostly it's centered around iSolved and what they do with iSolved, but also they talk a lot about kind of the day-to-day rigor of HR. If you're curious about that, search for Heroes of HR wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you.
Cool. And so for the listeners who want to like Google this, look it up. Xtend is Xtend.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. When we were talking before, what I was envisioning from Xtend was kind of an Amazon like experience, or pick your favorite e-commerce site, Shopify site, Target, Walmart, whatever. They've all done a really great job of showing the consumer products that are similar, that if you don't like this kind of salsa, maybe you'll like that kind of salsa. People who buy salsa also want to buy chips, that type of thing. And then if you go away without buying it and they know who you are, they're going to say, hey, are you still interested in, they'll email you or text you, are you still interested in buying that salsa? And so am I right, Tom, that that's kind of the experience that Xtend brings to employer career sites?
These are some really good examples, actually, of how we can help an employer. And Appcast itself, and now in the lab we're following, has always tried to think like a marketer and introduce marketing capabilities for the talent acquisition professionals that we work with. And so that example of like, you're looking at one product and you might be interested in some others, but we actually have that in recruitment as well. So I'm looking at a job, and this job may not be the perfect one for me. I might be thinking about a job that's closer to home, a little bit more junior or a little bit more senior than this role. Maybe I'm looking for a full-time job and this is a part-time. And so one of the capabilities of Xtend is while you're looking at that job that you've come maybe from a job advertisement, maybe you came to that employer's career site because you knew about the brand. Well, here are the other similar jobs that you could consider that fit your thinking and your requirements a little bit better, so that you don't, as a candidate, leave thinking this company doesn't have the right job for me. You now can quickly know about that job, consider it, and apply. So that's one of the ways that we can help. Another way, which is really, really powerful, and our customers are loving it, is also borrowed from marketers. If you think about when you've gone to one of those e-commerce sites and you might be about to leave without purchasing, and for us, we're thinking about somebody leaving without applying. What do those sites do? They'll show you a message and it will say something like, hey, would you like a discount code if you come back later? Would you like to save your cart? that's another way that Extend can develop engagement is we can show a form that says, hey, if you're not ready to apply today, would you like to become a part of our career network so that we can be in touch with you about what we have to offer, employees and the jobs that you might be interested in? And if the person provides that information, probably just as easy as an email or an email and their phone number, then we can be in touch with remarketing, which actually Extend automates. So the employer doesn't need to like craft messages or try to schedule them. One of the things I've heard like more times than I can count is that our customers don't want another tool they have to log into, but they do want that re-engagement to happen. So we've developed automations to re-engage these people who are raising their hand and saying, yeah, you can let me know about opportunities that come about. And then through the email or through the text message, we'll draw them back into the career site. And our goal is to help that person move forward to become an applicant. And that's sort of solving this candidate drop off problem. And then once the candidate has applied in the ATS, the existing recruitment process kicks in, and that's where Extend will usually leave things off, is once we've helped that employer to nurture that candidate to a completed application.
I love the like opt-in reminder, because it's like to your point earlier, you're on the phone, whatever, and you're like, I don't have time to apply. I don't want to go through, especially if it's more of an application process. And it's like, oh yeah, just remind me. Like that's fantastic. So as you were describing it, I was thinking, like, what's the ideal use case scenario? And obviously, given it's a high volume hiring podcast, like thinking about it at like scale, like maybe taking that lens, like what's that
Yeah.
idea? I can think of a bunch, but like what's that number one, at least for high volume?
So a lot of Appcast customers are doing high volume hiring. And so if you're one of our customers, thank you. If you're listening in today, if you don't work with us yet, we'd love the opportunity to maybe earn that business. And that high volume hiring can take lots of different shapes and sizes. But one example of a company who's been using Extend and finding really great results is Dick's Sporting Goods. So they've got hundreds of retail locations. They're typically working for people to work at the front counter or work around the store to help people find the garments that they're looking for. And they get a lot of inbound interest. And a lot of the candidates who come in for all these various different reasons may not convert. And through Extend, we're elevating the levels of engagement, and they're seeing multiples more in effective apply value from Extend than their investments in things like programmatic job advertising. So what I mean by that is, let's say that Extend helps you to get 100 extra applicants. It's actually many thousands in Dick's case. What would it have cost you to go find those candidates, attract them using advertising? There's a cost to that. And our customers are familiar with their cost per applicants for sure. And a lot of time, even the cost per hire. And we would say, well, it would have cost you X to get these applicants that Extend re-engaged. And so the way that we work with employers, actually, it's a subscription model. And so you pay us a flat rate each month for the service that it engages with candidates. And what you want to see is you're getting more value worth of applicants than what you pay for that subscription. And on average, actually, the return is about 4 times your subscription investment. And so what our customers are really looking for is that proof through completed applications that this is really delivering the candidate to the next step in the consideration process, and they're holding us accountable to that. Although I will say that a more recent case study that we actually just published from Piedmont Health, which is a large hospital healthcare center focused in Georgia, is that they've been able to find some of their hardest to fill candidates engaging through Extend. And so, that's even nursing roles and therapist roles, which are like, the grail right now. There's just not enough in the workforce to do that kind of work. So it's working also for that kind of hard to find skill set, which is high volume hiring of a different type. And so it's working in a lot of different areas at the moment.
Interesting. And I know we're just about out of time, but if I may, what I love about this product is that when I think of a successful recruitment marketing, I think about getting the right opportunity in front of the right candidate at the right time, right? We can't really do too much about the right candidate. With the candidates on the career site or they're not. But we can get the right opportunity in front of them, and we can do a better job, certainly, of doing it at the right time. So like just like Jeanette, when you were talking about like maybe the candidate doesn't only has like I don't remember exactly what you said, 20 seconds or whatever. It's like they're window shopping, mental note, that's a job I want. I'm going to come back later. But we all get busy. We all forget. Where was that job again? And this way it's just put your email address in and we'll send you a reminder or four, or whatever. And then also the recommendation engine, right? Wrong kind of salsa. Do you also want chips? Which I haven't had lunch yet, so you know where my mind is.
And to marketers, these ideas make so much sense.
Yeah,
If you can help a person by making them not commit to a full application, but just an email address or a phone number, it makes sense. Giving them an alternative product or alternative job just makes sense. And it's just that thinking hasn't made its way through these enterprise systems for the most part, and that's the opportunity that we're looking at and trying to help employers to solve.
That's what it's all about. Make it easy for everyone. So good stuff. Tom, this was so great. Thank you so much for being here today. It's
Great to be
really
here. Thank you.
good stuff. Well, on that note, we'll see everyone for episode 91.
awesome. Cheers. Good to see you again, Tom.
Care, everyone.